sun is finally shining. It's been raining for like 2 weeks. I'm so sick of the rain. Wow. There's places back home in the Mississippi Delta that are literally flooded. It's pretty bad stuff. But nonetheless, the sun is shining. The rain is gone for a few days. Got a cold front that moved in. I thought about fishing today, but there's so much I need to be doing to get ready for 2019. There's been some new developments. I no longer am going to fish the FLW side where it's the BFL where I was a co-angler. Quite frankly, the price of that to be a co-angler, it was a neat experience. Don't get me wrong. I learned so much from some of those guys that have been there for years, are veterans at the sport and tournament fishing and can catch fish, quite frankly. People like James Bird and Jim Phillips. I had a tremendous time learning with those guys. I decided to take a step back and evaluate what do I really want to do. Do I want to be a boater? Do I want to be a non-boater? Boater being the guy that owns the boat, drives the boat, goes wherever. So Jim Phillips, a good friend of mine from Greenwood, Mississippi, he was my pastor when I was growing up there. He said, why don't you join the Fishers of Men? It's a good Christian organization. It's got a lot of outreach. It's competitive. You can make your own team. It's very affordable because a lot of people are on a budget. So that's what I decided to do. I paid my membership fees. My brother and I, Lee Winters at Insane Mod Outdoors, we're going to be a fishing team. And our first tournament coming up this year is March the 2nd at Ross Barnett Reservoir, which is just 15 minutes here from my house, just down the road. But, you know, I think in one of my previous videos, I showed where I had purchased a boat. And a lot of people think that maybe that's outside of my reach to purchase a boat, whether it's big or small. You know, years ago, I started out filming my adventures in a 10-foot Bass Raider with a trolling motor on it, and that's perfectly fine. I spent like $400 or $500 on the boat. I got the trolling motor with some points, so I didn't have to pay anything for that. And I bought a battery, and I saved up, bought a little depth finder for it. It had many great fishing adventures, and I could just throw it in the back of my truck. I still have that boat. A good friend of mine is using it right now, but I still have it. But I saved up my money. I sold my side-by-side that I had, and I put some of that money in savings, and I used $5,000 of that side-by-side, which it's a lot of money, but I sold something to do this, put a little bit more money to it, and I bought a boat for under $6,000. A good, working, solid boat, used, mind you, and I showed it in one of my other videos. Hold on just one second. I bought a Triton TR19, and this boat, to be a 98 model, which is 20 years old, the gel coat is in exceptional condition. It's got some scratches, bumps, and bruises. I actually bought this from a dealership nearby. I need to wipe some of that off. And I found out who owned it before I did, and he had it in a boat slip for 20 years. That's why the gel coat looks so good. The carpet's in pretty good condition. I need to replace some of this. It's got some sun fade. The only part that's really got a whole lot of fade to it is this part right here was hanging out from under the boat slip, so it got some sun fade. I've got some product coming that I'm going to polish that up with. It's got a 150 Evinrude, and had I had the money for it, I would have bought a newer boat. I probably would have bought something with a Mercury or a Yamaha on it, because I've seen those in action. I don't have a whole lot of experience with an Evinrude. But this boat had only 124 hours on it. And you might be thinking, 124 hours on a 20-year-old motor? That's impossible. That's a rebuild. That's what I thought as well. Called the guy who owned it previously, traded it in at the dealership of which he bought it in '98. I said, 124 hours on the motor. This is a rebuild, right? The gentleman kindly explained to me. He said, no, that is the original motor. He said it sat in a boat slip, and I hardly ever used it. Which explains the condition of the motor underneath that cowling. It is spotless, it's in great working order, and the boat has been a solid boat here for the few months that I've had it. So just kind of give you an overview of what I have set up in this boat, and the new upgrade I just got is going to change my world for tournament fishing. I'm so excited about it. But overall, the TR19 is a 18.5-foot boat. They always round it up to say 19. I've got plenty of dry storage, 2 bins back here. Do not go anywhere without that, people. That is a necessity in a boat. Got 2 large live wells. That's the original seat, original leather. I got a cushion that goes in the middle, but I basically use that for a step. Over there on the dashboard, I put a Humminbird Helix 7 side imaging. Those units can be expensive sometimes, but I caught a really good deal on it, and I bought it for just over $400. I also bought one for the front deck. It is a down imaging unit. I bought that one from a good friend that I mentioned a moment ago, Jim Phillips. He gave me a really good deal on it. He had it only for about a year, and I use it on the front of my boat. I had a MinnKota. I'm a big MinnKota trolling motor guy. I had an Edge 70, which is kind of a entry-level bow-mounted foot pedal controlled trolling motor, 24 volts. Did a great job. But with windy conditions and trying to sort through tackle and taking a fish off, especially in tournament mode, I decided, you know what, I'm going to save up a little bit of money and I'm going to build that fund up. Now, I borrowed a little bit of money from a really good friend of mine. He knows I'm good for it, to finish it off. Plus, I had some repairs to do in the back that were my fault. We won't even go into that. And I got something that I'm really excited about. Check this out. So I got the MinnKota Ultrex. It's an 80-pound thrust, 24-volt trolling motor. I can pair it with my depth finders, my phone. It's got a remote in case I want to drive it that way. It has the traditional pedal, which I really like. It has spot lock, so if I'm taking a fish off, I can push that button. It'll hold the front of the boat and the GPS coordinate to never leave that spot. So if the wind starts blowing me away, the trolling motor turns and does its thing. So the other thing I'm excited about is I don't have to strap on a transducer to the trolling motor. This particular model comes with mega down imaging. I already had down imaging on that unit. However, when you involve mega down imaging, it provides a much crisper, cleaner image for you to see on your depth finder. Another thing I'm excited about, and which is one reason my garage looks like a war zone, is the layout of this boat. If you're looking for a boat, you always need more storage, right? This boat, for a 20-year-old boat, it holds a tremendous amount of storage. I've got multiple boxes in here for my hard baits. I'm trying to label stuff. This box here up under my pedestal, I got worm bags, I've got containers. I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought a ton of these 99-cent bins. They hold, you know, I got trailers. I got a double bin there with my Strike King baits, swim baits, worms, trailers, swim baits. I've got a whole bunch of storage in here that just really is, it's going to help me out a lot. Plus I've got a rod locker that holds 6 rods, plus I can lay some rods down in there. So I'm probably going to have about 7 to 8 rods in that rod locker, and I have another locker on the other side that would be a benefit for me. Got a place for my co-angler, my brother. He can store his rods there, as many as he wants, plus if he needs some more storage, he can store them up front. It's very important that you have plenty of storage based on the needs that you're going to be experiencing. My need here is tournament fishing, and I want to be able to access as much tackle as I can, because sometimes what you've been fishing with just ain't working and you need more options. So that's pretty much my boat in a nutshell. If you're on a budget, keep looking. Don't get in a big hurry. I know that a lot of times we get desperate as outdoorsmen to go ahead and get what we think we need at the time. I bought this boat during the off season. So end of October, 1st of November, I bought this boat, and the price that I saw on it 3 months prior to me buying it was well outside of my budget. But as the season rolled on and they needed to move inventory, that's when you can catch these guys. They're still making money on them, no doubt, but the prices are a lot better when you wait just a little while and get what you really want and get what you really need. I'm planning on hanging on to this boat for a long time, hence the fancy upgrades that I had to save up for. But whether it's a big boat like this or it's simply a little beat up John boat that you found on the internet for a couple $100, it doesn't matter as long as you've gotten what you need and you can modify it and make your own to have the best fishing experience possible. So that's what I encourage you to do. That's my setup. I'm going to let you know if these plastic containers and the way that I have this boat set up for my tournaments worked. And I'll keep you up to date on some of the tweaks that I'm doing to the boat. But right now, for the first part of the season, that's my setup and that's where I'm headed. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. I'll try to film a lot of the practice and a lot of the tournaments, weather permitting. I have very limited camera equipment that's water resistant. So what I'm going to do is film as much of that as possible and share those experiences with you guys, as I have been doing for the past 2 seasons. Tournament season is upon us. The longer we get that sun to come out, the more likely we are to get that water to warm up and have those fish start spawning. And that's what we're hoping for our first tournament. I think it's still a little early, but we'll get there. But stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on new things coming along. Thanks for your support at MadCo Outdoors. Follow us on Instagram at MadCo_outdoors, and also like our Facebook page, MadCo Outdoors. So get out there, have a good time while the sun's still shining, and we'll see you outdoors. Bye.